All right, Colin. Brandon Aiyuk skipped the entirety of the 49ers offseason program and is still looking to get his future sorted ahead of training camp. In an appearance on the Rich Eisen show, George Kittle said he's not concerned with Aiyuk's contract situation.
Being a 49er and where like most of the contracts have gone, like I didn't get signed till like the second week of training camp. Debo was pretty late.
Bosa was late too.
Bosa was the first week of the season. I was like, that's just how business is done out there. But like, I'm not concerned about it. Aiyuk's a phenomenal football player. He's a big part of our offense. And he's like one of the most complete receivers that I've ever played with. So I'm going to assume that Aiyuk's going to be on our team by the time the season starts.
There's a lot more pressure this year on Kyle Shanahan than I think people realize. This has been the most talented roster in the league probably for 3 years. Since they added Christian McCaffrey, this has been the roster of note in the league. Kansas City hasn't had the best roster. Philadelphia's been close for a year. Baltimore's been good. This is the best roster. And pretty soon, you're going to have to pay Brock Purdy. And Trent Williams and Kittle and Christian, Debo getting banged up, getting older. Like, I think this is the year. And if they underachieve, and I love Kyle Shanahan, even he'll get pushback. But we kind of look at this team and we're like, they're loaded. Their best players, Detroit and Green Bay, are different in the NFC. The Rams are different. Their best players are overwhelmingly old guys with a lot of miles on the odometer. And so I think this year for the Niners is really important.
I think if you look at Brock Purdy and Brandon Aiyuk, to your point as well, Aiyuk has really been his top receiver, not named Christian McCaffrey. I mean, Debo's tremendous, but Aiyuk is that traditional X-receiver. And if you go back to week 1 last year, Purdy's coming off the elbow surgery. Who does he target against Pittsburgh? 8 targets, 8 catches, 129 yards, 2 tutties for Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah.
NFC Championship. They're down 17 to Detroit. Aiyuk make that circus catch, brings them back. Ultimately, they go to the Super Bowl. Maybe it's not Justin Jefferson type of money, Colin, but ultimately, I believe San Francisco wants Aiyuk there long term. I think Aiyuk wants to be there, and I ultimately believe not only will he, but he deserves to get that type of money. Maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown, you see Tyreek Hill in there, somewhere along those lines.
Yeah.
Big-time money for a big-time player.
Yeah, no, there's no question. And I think they drafted 2 wide receivers, so they're eventually going to move off one of their receivers.
Yeah. Yesterday we heard from Justin Jefferson. As he discussed, he wasn't too surprised that Kirk Cousins left the Vikings. In the same interview on the Rich Eisen show, Jefferson also talked about what it's been like working with rookie J.J. McCarthy so far.
They put JJ's locker right next to mine, just like how they did Kirk's. You know, they want me to be that guy that JJ can always, talk to and ask questions about. And he's definitely that type of kid. You know, he definitely wants to ask questions. He wants to learn how to become a top quarterback. He wants to learn how to become, a problem in this league. But I always tell him, don't really worry about the expectations. All you have to do is just carry yourself with confidence.
Yeah, whoever quarterbacks Minnesota, you have to be productive. There's too many good players. This is on Sam Darnold and JJ. Whoever's taking the snaps. Like, I've defended Sam Darnold forever.
That's your guy.
It's not about his record. Sam has to be productive this year. He could go, if he starts 8 games and goes 4-4, but is really productive, and they move on to J.J. McCarthy, Darnold will get another shot. It's like Baker Mayfield came to the Rams. Remember he had one practice? Yeah. Everybody went.
Then he had that crazy comeback.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, he's rolling, gets to Tampa, and then now he's one of the.
That's right. So if the key for Sam Darnold is not about wins and losses. They're not going to win the division. But if Sam goes 4-4 and then they decide around Thanksgiving, we're going to go to J.J. McCarthy, which is what my guess they'd like to do. Give Sam up to Thanksgiving or maybe longer. It's not about winning for Sam. Can Sam do a Baker Mayfield where he finally gets a good offensive coach? Baker gets Sean McVay. Everybody's like, it's a television game. Everybody's like, oh, Baker's pretty good. Baker kind of reboots the reputation. Baker grows up. He gets the right coaching, gets the money in Tampa. It's really interesting. I just saw Sam a week ago in Rhode Island. If Sam is productive, nobody's going to hold the record against him in that division. And I think with their left tackle, tight end, running back, 2 wide receivers, head coach, I think Sam's going to be more productive than people think, and he will get another run. Remember, Kyle likes him. NFL people like him.
Everyone's always liked Sam Darnold. I think the bigger question is when do they go, if they go, to J.J. McCarthy? And we just saw the week 5 bye, I believe, after the Jets.
That's too. J.J.
too
needs.
soon?
I think J.J. needs to sit for a year.
Yeah.
I don't think he's Joe Burrow. I don't think he's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you, this is a conversation I had with J.J. I took some notes. I asked him about the 32 runs in a row against Penn State. He was a Heisman candidate, Heisman favorite the week before. Did that bother him? No. I said, does it bother you that people talk about you as a winner, but you don't have the most gaudy stats? No. He had Jim Harbaugh. Now he's going to go to Kevin O'Connell. At some point, he will be the franchise. All this guy does is win, though. He's just as a point of reference, he goes 27-1 at Michigan. He's the third highest winning percentage ever. He wins 2 state titles in high school, a national championship at IMG. So he's about winning. Kevin O'Connell is someone that we've seen can cater to and develop young quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I think it's only a matter of time. Maybe it's not week 5, but Darnold, to your point, is going to get his shot. But at some point this season, Minnesota does have to go to McCarthy, no?
Yeah, I think they will. I think get to Thanksgiving. Again, when you have an offensive coach, quarterbacks tend to develop faster with offensive coaches and offensive cultures.
Yeah. Sticking in the NFC North, Amon-Ra St. Brown had an incredible season, Colin, earning him a huge payday this offseason. In Netflix's receiver series, St. Brown revealed that he actually tore his oblique, quote, off the bone early in the season, played through the injury, only missing week 6. Okay, Colin, when you think about tearing an oblique and then having an all-pro caliber season.
Crazy.
Think about how impressive that is. What does that say?
I got to tell you something. I watched him in high school. I watched every snap he took at USC. I've been blown away by how good he is. Now, part of it is Jared Goff with time to throw is really, really good, but that kid's a worker. I saw him have a great freshman year at USC. Then I thought he kind of plateaued. I didn't think he had the speed to separate. And I'm like, he'll be a nice number 2 or 3 receiver in the NFL. Blown me away how good he is. It shows you a lot about the staff, a lot about his sort of work ethos. But he has been, he's a 4th-round pick. And he is an absolute number 1. He's a dog.
They called him a 4th-round pick who was too small, wasn't fast enough, didn't have enough short area quickness. He's a slot. He's done everything else.
He's incredibly productive. He deserves a lot of credit. But I also think Detroit, this is an offensive line that gives Goff time to throw, and Jared's really good with time to throw. Gives you an extra step to get open.
Yeah, I would say that this season with Jameson Williams, who's apparently in great shape, and this is year 3 now.
Yeah.
Former top 10 pick. That's a really fascinating 1-2 punch when you consider Laporta, David Montgomery, Gibbs. They could be even better potentially offensively.
Yeah.
Okay, so Colin, this has been a lot of soccer these last couple of weeks. The U.S. Federation parted ways with head coach Greg Berhalter yesterday after the team's rough performance at Copa America, failing to get out of the group. Reports indicate the U.S. has identified former Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp as the top target for the position. They made initial contact. Now, Klopp has actually rebuffed the sentiment that he could be the United States national coach. What do you think about this?
Well, we always blame the coach.
Yeah.
Remember the red card in Copa against Panama? Tim Weah got the red card. And so Americans played a man down, and we lost 2-1 to Panama. And that's the one that got him fired. Well, playing a man down for 75 minutes is really hard. And so I think Berhalter knows what he's doing. I think he got us into the round of 16 with a team with nobody in their prime, a draw against England. We weren't in the same class as the Netherlands, and not in the same class as Argentina. And this is a very young team. Copa, for a lot of reasons, was a tough spot for our team that's more skilled and European. These are smaller fields, gritty Copa tournament, not built for us. And they didn't get a lot of quality shots on goal. But, listen, I've just learned, it doesn't matter if it's Bruce Arena, Greg Berhalter. He's got a 69% winning percentage, the best ever for any United States men's national team coach that has coached over like 20 matches.
Yeah.
But I understand everybody's like, well, this is the best team we've had. No, it's the most skilled team we've ever had. But we're still 2 years away from the World Cup and 2 years away from most of our young players moving into their prime. We have a young roster, and Copa I thought was a bad fit for us, our style. But that's life. I've just come to terms with soccer fans are never going to blame the player. It is always the coach, because that makes us feel better. Like, if we just change the coach, we can beat Argentina. That makes us feel better instead of acknowledging we're not quite there yet. We're still really young.
But hasn't it felt like we haven't been quite there for the past 20 years?
We pivoted out of the Clint Dempsey,
Sure.
Josie
Brandon
Altidore.
Donovan,
We pivoted out of